Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss about the internal combustion engine. So before we discuss about the internal combustion engine, let's start with the basic difference between the internal combustion engine and external combustion engine. Why they are, how they are different from each other. The first point is the combustion. So here, in case of internal combustion engine, the combustion of the fuel or whatever the working fluid it is taken place inside the cylinder or within the system. Whatever the system it is, that is known as that is why it is known as the internal combustion engine, because the combustion of the fuel or the working fluid takes place within the system. But in case of external cylinder engine, the burning of the fuel or the working fluid, whatever it is, with the working fluid, the combustion will take place outside the engine, like in case of the steam generators. Okay, so the combustion will take place outside the engine or system, or here the combustion will take place inside the engine or system, inside the engine or the system. In case of the internal combustion engine, because the combustion of the fuel will take place inside the system or within a confined boundary, so that the raise in the temperature or the temperature increment will be very high in case of the internal combustion engine, whereas in case of external combustion engine, the fuel or the working fluid first burned outside the engine, then it is transferred to the system where we have to produce a continuous work, so that the rise in the temperature will be less, or we can say that there some amount of energy will be lost. In case of the pressure, again as the temperature increase in internal combustion engine, in a similar way, the pressure will be also very higher in case of internal combustion engine. But in case of external combustion engine, yes, the pressure increment will be, there is also pressure increment, but the pressure increment will be lower as compared to the internal combustion engine. About the efficiency, in case of the internal combustion engine, as the temperature also increase, pressure is also increased, so the net work output we will get is also higher. So we can say the efficiency is also higher if we operate both the internal and external combustion engine under the same conditions, under the same circumstances. In case of the weight, in case of the internal combustion engine, the burning of the fuel takes place within the cylinder, within the system, in a confined boundary. So the amount of weight or the amount of parts will be very less. So the weight of the internal combustion is lesser as compared to the external combustion engine, because in case of external combustion engine, the burning of the fuel will take place outside the system, so that we have to attach another system with a more weight, more mass, or more weight in it. So that's why the weight is also higher. About the cost, yes, internal combustion engine is much costlier than the external combustion. External combustion engine is not much costlier than the internal combustion. The cost will be very less. It is because we have to burn the fuel within the cylinder. So the quality of the cylinder, the material used in the cylinder or the piston or the system will be very good. Need to be very good, so that which increases the cost of the internal combustion engine. The example of it is we can our day-to-day life, you can see that motorcycles running on the streets, cars, trucks, trains, etc. all are the internal combustion engine. And in case of external, the examples are steam generators or the boilers. All are the external combustion, because in case of steam generator and boilers, first the coal is fired. In case of the boiler, the fired coal, the energy which is released from the fired coal is transferred to the water, which is converted into the steam, and this steam utilizes to run the turbine, so that to get the continuous work output. So these are the basic difference of internal combustion engines. So combustion, temperature, pressure, efficiency, this is not important, but you have to know it first going into the internal combustion engine. Now, as we know that what are internal combustion, now the thermodynamic details of the internal combustion. What are thermodynamic details of the internal combustion engine? So yes, thermodynamic details means there is a cylinder and there is a piston. In between the cylinder and piston, whatever the space is provided, the fuel is burned, and the fuel is burned, and the burned fuel will produce a continuous work output or will get a continuous work output due to the burning of the fuel inside the piston and the cylinder. Okay. So there are the 2 points. One is the lowest point and another one is the highest point. Highest point means up to which the piston can move in the upward direction, or in the lowest point up to which the piston will be moved in the lower direction. Okay. So in some engines we can also, this lowest point is also known as the bottom dead center, and this is known as the top dead center. Okay. Highest point is known as the top dead center. Now the amount of you can see that the hash lines, which are red hash lines, okay, this one represents the VC, which is known as the clearance volume, and this will represents the L, which is known as the stroke length. Stroke length means the distance which is traveled by the piston from bottom dead center to top dead center, or top dead center to bottom dead center. The distance traveled by the piston is known as the stroke length, which is represented by L. Clearance volume, the amount of volume or the amount of space which is left inside the cylinder by the piston, or which is not covered by the piston inside the cylinder, is known as clearance volume. In this volume, most of the exhaust gases will be there. Most of the exhaust gases will remain in clearance volume, so that the piston will not touch the upper part of the cylinder. Next, the swept volume. Swept volume, again the volume covered by the piston when it is moved from the top dead center to bottom dead center. Okay. Next one is the, we have indicated this point, the lowest point is as 1, and the highest point is represented by 2. So we can say that V1, volume 1, which is the sum of Vs plus Vc and V2. Okay. So next one is the volume ratio. So volume ratio is the ratio, or which volume ratio is represent the change in the volume or in any process, which is equal to the ratio between the largest volume to the smallest volume, which is equal to V1 upon V2. So we can say that during if we see during the compression process, this VR, volume ratio, is equal to the compression ratio. You can call it compression ratio, which is represented by small r, which is equal to V1 upon V2. Then we can see that V1 is equal to Vs plus Vc, and V2 is equal to Vc, which is equal to 1 plus Vs upon Vc. Okay. Now, clearance ratio. Clearance ratio is the ratio between clearance volume upon swept volume, which is represented by C. If we see that compression ratio is equal to 1 plus Vs upon Vc, then it is equal to V plus 1 plus 1 upon C. If we correlate compression ratio with clearance ratio, then we can say that R is equal to 1 plus 1 upon C. This is the relation between the compression ratio and the. Okay. So guys, now we will discuss about the cycles for IC engines. So there are basically 2 types of cycles which are used in our day-to-day life. The first one is the Otto cycle, and the second one is diesel cycle. From Otto cycle, petrol engines are derived, and from diesel cycles, diesel engines are derived. Before going into Otto cycle and diesel cycle and the various processes involved in these 2 cycles, let us first discuss about the Carnot heat engine. The Carnot heat engine is the ideal. So now we are going to the part of heat addition, which is in case of the Carnot cycle, which is takes place at constant temperature. Now let us discuss in case of Otto cycle, if the heat addition takes place at constant temperature, then it is not possible. It is not possible. Why it is not possible? Because if we add certain amount of heat at constant temperature, some amount of heat from this, some amount of heat is derived by the particles to increase their temperature or increase their internal energy, so that if some amount of energy is derived by the particles, their temperature will increase, their internal energy increase. The internal energy increase means the temperature will not remain constant, so we cannot add heat at constant temperature. Okay, this is the first point. Now in case of the heat rejection system, everything is similar as in case of the heat addition. That in case of heat rejection cannot be takes place as constant temperature, cannot be takes place adiabatic if the process is adiabatic, or cannot be done through polytropic process. So there are again two possibilities to reject the heat from the system. One is the constant pressure and the reason is the constant volume. So first we will discuss about the constant pressure. So in case of the constant pressure process, the heat is removed from the system is only or it only can be done by the system by its own. The system has to deliver some amount of work to remove the exhaust gases from the system or to remove the heat from the system. For this, there must be a pressure difference. There must be a pressure difference. If there is no pressure difference, between the system and the surrounding, then this piston will not move from this point, 1 point to 2 point to remove the exhaust gases. So some amount of work then has to be done by the system on the exhaust gases so as to reject the heat from the system to the surrounding. For this, there must be a pressure difference within the system and between the system and the surrounding. So heat rejection again cannot takes place at constant pressure. So there is only one option for both the cycles, in Otto cycle as well as in diesel cycle, that heat rejection takes place at constant volume. Okay. So now, first of all, now it is clear that in both the cases, Otto cycle or the diesel cycle, the compression and the expansion will be adiabatic. In case of Otto cycle, heat addition will takes place at constant volume. In case of diesel cycle, heat addition takes place at constant pressure. And in both the cycles, heat rejection will takes place at constant volume. So first we will discuss about Otto cycle. What is Otto cycle and what are the processes in case of Otto cycle? Let us draw the PV and the TS diagram for the Otto cycle. So my drawing is not very good. Okay. So this is T, temperature and the entropy diagram, and so this one is pressure and volume. Okay, PV diagram and the TS diagram. Okay, so starting from the TS diagram, so first of all, the compression will take place, which is adiabatic compression. So this one is from 1 to 2. The straight line represents the constant entropy process, which is known as adiabatic process from 1 to 2 point. Okay, from 2 to 3 after compression, adiabatic compression, heat will be added, and in case of Otto cycle, heat addition will take place at constant volume, which is represented by this line, which is at 1.3. So here heat will be added at constant volume. Now from after heat addition, adiabatic expansion will take place, from where we will get a continuous work output or the work output. So 3 to 4 will be the constant adiabatic expansion, and from 4 to 1, for to get a continuous work output, this cycle, these processes will form a closed loop, or we can say that it form a cyclic process, which is an Otto cycle. So from 4 to 1, heat will be rejected at constant volume process again. In both the cases, the heat will be rejected at constant volume. So here the volume remains the constant. Again here volume remains the constant. Both are the adiabatic process 1 to 2 and the 3 to 4. Here some amount of work is done on the system and some amount of work is derived from the system. This is the work output or this is the work input. Here heat addition will take place at constant volume and heat rejection will take place at constant volume. Now in case of the PV diagram, if we draw a PV diagram of this, again from 1 to 2, it will be heat addition will take there will be the adiabatic compression from 1 to 2. Adiabatic compression means, suppose this is point 1, compression will take place, it means volume decreases and pressure and temperature and entropy will increase. So this will happen. Okay, 1 to 2. Then after compression there will be the heat addition which takes place at constant volume, which is represented by the straight line 2 to 3. After that 2 to 3, Again, there will be an adiabatic expansion which is represented by. Okay, I will extend this line to much extent 3. After 3 to 4 heat rejection will take place as 1 to 2 will be the adiabatic compression, 2 to 3 will be the heat addition at constant volume, and 3 to 4 is the adiabatic expansion for we will get the work output, and 4 to 1 is the heat rejection at constant volume. Okay, so this process will decide that this is an Otto cycle. Again, this process. So here what is happening, some amount of work input is given by the system, derived from the system. Heat addition will take place at constant volume. Again, it will give the net work output from the system. Then this heat rejection will take place at constant volume. Okay, volume remains constant, a constant volume. So this is the PV and the TS diagram of the Otto cycle. So we can say that from now briefly we discuss about the various processes in this case. So from process 1 to 2, 1 to 2 process is the adiabatic compression. Okay, adiabatic compression. 2 to 3 is heat addition at constant volume. Okay, 3 to 4 is adiabatic expansion, and 4 to 1 is heat rejection at constant volume. Okay, so these are the 4 processes which jointly form a cyclic process so as to get the continuous work output, and this is known as the Otto cycle. In case of Otto cycle, there are 2 processes. One is the adiabatic process and the second one is the constant volume process. In case of Otto cycle, there will be the adiabatic compression and adiabatic expansion will take place, along with heat addition and heat rejection. Both the processes will take place at constant volume. These are the TS and the PV diagram of Otto cycles. Okay. In case of the adiabatic consumption, what will happen? In case of adiabatic compression, what will happen? Volume will decrease, temperature will increase. You can see that from the table. Entropy will increase. You can see from the graphs. Okay, and entropy remains the same. S remains constant. Entropy remains the same. Temperature will increase. Temperature and pressure is also increase. Okay. In case of heat addition at constant volume, again heat addition at constant volume means pressure increases, temperature increases, volume remains constant, and S also increases. Okay. In case of the adiabatic expansion, reverse of adiabatic compression will happen. Here volume increases, temperature decreases, and S remains constant, and pressure will decreases. And again, in case of heat rejection, the reverse of heat addition will take place, means pressure decreases, temperature decreases, volume remains the same, and entropy also decreases. So these are the processes involved in the Otto cycle. Now from these graphs we have to derive the efficiency of Otto cycle. Efficiency of Otto cycle. So the basic definition of the efficiency for any engine or any process is equal to, any cycle process is equal to, efficiency is equal to net work done upon heat addition or work input. So it means efficiency is the ratio between how much amount of work you have derived from the engine to how much amount of work or the energy you have given to the system. This is the basic definition of efficiency. So for to derive the efficiency of an Otto cycle, efficiency of an Otto cycle is equal to What is the net work done? Net work done, we can say that work output minus work input upon heat addition. Okay, work output, this is the work output, and how much amount of work input is the net amount of work done or net amount of work which is derived from the cycle. Means if we are given 10 joule of work to the system and we have derived 100 joule from the system, then how much total amount of work we will get 90. Okay, if we give 10 joule of work to the system and we derive total work output, we will derive 100 joule, then how much amount of work, total net work we will get from the system, or we will get from the engine, which is 100 minus 10, which is equal to 90. Okay, so W output minus W input upon heat addition is equal to HA. According to first law of thermodynamics, del Q is equal to del W for a cyclic process. For a cyclic process, del Q is equal to W. Okay, del Q is equal to, why del Q is equal to W? Because del Q is equal to del W plus du. But for a cyclic process, the initial and the final points are similar. Means del Q is equal to 0. That's why that is why del Q is equal to del W. Okay. So what is del Q in case of Otto cycle? Del Q is equal to heat addition minus heat rejection. Or what is del W? W output minus W input. Okay. W output minus W input. Okay. So what we can say that, so from this equation we can see that efficiency of Otto cycle is equal to heat addition minus heat rejection upon heat addition, which is equal to 1 minus heat rejection upon heat addition. Okay. So what will be the heat rejection in case of Otto cycle? Heat rejection, as we can see that heat rejection will take place at constant volume. So per unit mass we can see that CV into, as we see that heat rejection, Q is equal to mCV del T. Okay, so we find out the heat rejection per unit mass, which is equal to CV into del T. What is heat rejection? CV into del T, T4 minus T1. Okay, T4 minus T1. In a similar way, heat addition is equal to CV into T3 minus T2. From this equation, you can see that efficiency of Otto cycle is equal to minus upon CV upon T4 minus T1 upon CV into T3 minus T2. Okay, from this, efficiency of Otto is equal to 1 minus T4 minus T1 upon T3 minus T2. Okay, from this equation we will get this expression, efficiency of Otto is equal to 1 minus T4 minus T1 upon T3 minus T2. Okay, now what is happening here? Okay, let me adjust this camera. I have noticed that it is not clearly visible. Okay, now what is happening in that, efficiency of Otto cycle is equal to 1 minus T4 minus T1 upon T3 minus T2. Now before solving this, let us discuss about process 1 to 2. Process 1 to 2, which is an adiabatic compression. In case of adiabatic compression, the relationship between the pressure volume or the pressure temperature is T2 upon T1 is equal to, solving this equation, suppose this is equation number 1. First of all, we have to discuss about the process 1 to 2, which is an adiabatic compression. In adiabatic compression, the relation between temperature and volume is equal to T2 upon T1 is equal to V1 upon V2 to the power gamma minus 1. Okay, in a similar way, process 3 to 4 is equal to T3 upon T4 is equal to, this is equation number A. This is equation number A. And T3 upon T4 is equal to V4 upon V3 to the power gamma minus 1. Raised to the power gamma minus 1. Okay, raised to the power gamma minus 1. Okay. So next one is the volume ratio. So volume ratio is the ratio or which volume ratio is represent the change in the volume or in any process, which is equal to the ratio between the largest volume to the smallest volume, which is equal to V1 upon V2. So we can say that during if we see during the compression process, this VR volume ratio is equal to the compression ratio. You can call it compression ratio, which is represented by small r, which is equal to V1 upon V2. Then we can see that V1 is equal to Vs plus Vc and V2 is equal to Vc, which is equal to 1 plus Vs upon Vc. Okay. So before solving the efficiency of the cycle, let us discuss about the compression ratio, which is represented by R, which is always the largest volume to the smallest volume, which is here in this case V1 upon V2. V1 upon V2. This is the compression ratio. Okay. So after getting this relation, we can correlate that. We can conclude that T2 upon T1 is equal to V1 upon V2. T2 upon T1 is equal to R की power gamma minus 1. In a similar way, T3 upon T4 is equal to now V4 upon V3. Now here in this case V4 is equal to V1 or V3 is equal to V2. So again similar way T3 upon T4 is equal to V1 upon V2, which is again R की power gamma minus 1. From these two expressions we can conclude that T2 upon T1 is equal to T3 upon T4. Okay, T2 upon T1 is equal to T3 upon T4. Now going back to the efficiency of Otto cycle, efficiency of Otto cycle is equal to 1 minus T4 minus T1 upon T3 minus T2. Okay. Now in the numerator we have to take T1 as common, and in the denominator we have T2. We have to take T2 as common. Okay. So after taking the common T1 and T2 upon T2 in the numerator and denominator, what is left inside the bracket T4 upon T1 minus 1 upon T3 upon T2 minus 1. This will be left inside the bracket after taking T1 and T2 common from the numerator and the denominator. If we interchange these places, suppose interchange these places, so what will happen? T4 upon T1 is equal to T3 upon T2. If we interchange these places, so from this expression we can conclude that efficiency of Otto cycle is equal to 1 minus T1 upon T2. 1 minus T1 upon T2. Again going back into the question number A, which is question number A, which is T2 upon T1 is equal to V1 upon V2 to the power gamma minus, and which can be written as T1 upon T2 is equal to V2 upon V1 to the power gamma minus 1, which is equal to 1 upon R to the power gamma minus 1. So from this equation, second equation and C equation, we can correlate that. We can finally conclude the efficiency of Otto cycle, which is equal to 1 minus 1 upon R की power gamma minus 1. 1 minus 1 upon R की power gamma minus 1. So the efficiency of the Otto cycle is, the expression for the efficiency of the Otto cycle is 1 minus 1 upon R की power gamma minus 1, where R is the compression ratio and gamma is the adiabatic constant. So here from this equation we can directly conclude that the efficiency of Otto cycle is directly dependent on the compression ratio as well as the type of fuel which is used in the inside the cylinder, or the type of fuel which is used to derive the work output from the engine gamma, which is directly represents the property of the fuel. Okay, so this is the expression or this is the derivation of the efficiency of the Otto cycle. It is very important for GATE as well as ES, and you have to remember the formula always. And what is on what factors it is dependent upon. It is dependent upon the compression ratio as well as the property of the fuel used in the engine. Okay, so as to derive the work output, this is the derivation for the efficiency of Otto cycle. Okay.